and Hodgson. It's Thorman who captains the side, and Robinson is the scrum half. There is some local interest in the forwards as well. Crabtree, Alker and Paul Wood of Warrington. Wild, Radford and Wilkin. And on the bench, it's Jamie Jones-Buchanan, Stuart Reardon, who will be at Warrington next year with the Wolves, Darryl Griffin and Andy Lynch. And the coach, as we say, is Carl Harrison. Now then, the New Zealand team. Warrington's Henry Farfili is the fullback. The three quarters, Webster, Fatuira, Harpy of the Bulls and Vatuvai. Motu Tony of Hull is playing at standoff. And Lance Hohaya gets the chance to make his mark because, of course, Stacey Jones now in France and then on his way home for the birth of his child and will not be taking any further part, we are told, in the Tri-Nations. So Lance Hohaya, a big day for him. Then it's the new Wigan star, Paliasina. Faiumu is the hooker and Pulatuya. Louis Anderson and Ali Lauatiti of the Leeds Rhinos captains the Kiwis, and Bronson Harrison completes the lineup at loose forward. And then on the bench, there is a smattering of Super League stars here. Robbie Paul, of course, the new man at Huddersfield. Joe Vanganar of the Bradford Bulls. Willie Poaching of the Leeds Rhinos. And Frank Pritchard. And the coach is Graham Norton. So this is the scene at the moment in the England dressing room. They will be tense. They will be, I suppose, up for this, hoping to put the record straight, because Paul Cullen, it was a stuttering performance against the French a fortnight ago.
It was. The preparation has been broken a little bit. One or two guys have been injured who possibly should have been in the England starting lineup. But you've got to have a little bit of adversity, and it's not a bad thing for this England side that you have to show your wares, and you've got to come through a little bit of adversity. You've got to play out of position. You've got to do things that you might not ordinarily want to do, and put yourself out to represent the country. I've had some great times when I coached the England side along with John Kerr, and this side is still the core from that setup. We've got a very good breed of young English players, and they're going to be tested here today because the Kiwis, although they were very relaxed, they look very, very confident, and they set an awful lot of their store out by being a strong team unit. They got together before they trained, they got together while they were training, and they got together at the end of the training session. So the Kiwis are playing for a lot of pride and team spirit.
And I must say, Phil Clark, Brian McLennan, he has done a magnificent job. He's virtually unknown, obviously unknown in this country. He's only coached in the New Zealand local competition, if that be the right word, but he has brought such pride to the black and white jersey, hasn't he?
I think probably coaching internationally for the 5 or 6 weeks you're together is a different job to coaching for a club side that plays obviously for 10 months throughout the year. And yet he's managed to get his side together for that period of time, focus on what they do well, and do it to the best of their ability. They, as you've said, they seem to play with a great degree of freedom, and if you allow them to play with the natural skills that the Kiwis undoubtedly have, you see them as the best, which is as one of the best sides in the world.
And we've already mentioned the team lineup. Lance Hohaya, the scrum half, Steve-O, he really has got to put his mark on this match, hasn't he, Hohaya? Because he's got the chance here to take over from Stacey Jones as the teams emerge.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for him in many ways, because interesting to watch how the Kiwis will go without the skill of Stacey Jones. We've known for quite some time now that Jones is the linchpin. He's the man that really sets both, not only the three quarters going, but also the forwards. He's very, very quick around the play the ball area, and also goes into first receiver. So it is a big opportunity for the New Zealanders to perhaps just play their way in. And this is all about preparation. This is why we will see a very good performance from the Kiwis. They will not hold back. This is not just a run in the park on a Sunday afternoon. They will want to show that they can gel together without Stacey Jones.
I don't know whether you caught a quick glimpse there of Leslie Vainikolo in the stands. Of course, he might well have been playing for the Kiwis in the Tri-Nations had he not had to undergo the operation on the knee. There he is, Leslie Vainikolo. OK, he will be no doubt singing and taking part in the haka shortly. But the national anthem's on the way now. New Zealand's anthem will be sung by Kay Jordan. The English anthem will be sung by Martin Toll. And after the anthems, the boys will be across in commentary where they will join Bill Arthur.
And so too are the England boys for a big test for them. This might be a New Zealand invitation side as it's officially described. Jason Robinson, the Australian referee, in charge of it, but it is a massive challenge for these England players, and the challenge will be thrown down first by the New Zealand side. Robbie Paul, as ever, putting his heart and soul into it. He's a great performer. Understand that Robbie's got a little acting role coming up. Well, he didn't do a bad performance there, Phil.
Passion, wasn't it, there from the Kiwis, and I'm sure this afternoon will be about passion. It also needs to be about performance, though, and England will be fully aware of that. Maybe the benefit for them going into this game, Bill, is the fact that they go in as underdogs. Difficult situation heading there a couple of weeks ago when they played against France. It was hard for them to lift. That won't be the case when they can see the guys playing them here today.
Well, England will certainly have to raise their standards in comparison to that performance against the French. It's New Zealand who'll get us underway, and Hull's Motu Tony to get this game here at the Halliwell Jones underway, and a first touch for the England captain Chris Thorman and his Earl Crabtree. They'll be looking for him, will the New Zealanders, and they've found him. There's a lot of bulk in this New Zealand side, some big players out there and some bulk on the bench as well. But Great Britain, England I should say, have got plenty of pace on their side. Malcolm Alker making some good yards for them. Paul Wood, he'll be getting a special cheer here on his home ground.
I know that one of the things that England will want to do when you talk about speed, Bill, is to make sure they get some speed at the play of the ball. They want to play the ball quicker than Great Britain did when they played New Zealand just over a week ago.
Henry Farfili on his home pitch, playing at fullback for the New Zealand side today. Getting his first touch of the ball there. That's Efeta Paliasina. He's driving the ball up, and he'll be in Super League next season playing for Wigan. Bound to make a big impact, he is. And now they're running this ball. That's good defence by the England side, and they've managed to force the player into touch. That's great work all round by the England team.
Well, that's a fantastic start for England there. They'd really compressed the defence for the first 3 tackles, and then when New Zealand shifted it, they managed to adapt in time. You see Robinson working, communicating with Hodgson, and then driving through the legs and to force the Kiwis over the sideline. It's a great first start.
Nowhere for Paul Fatuera to go. Hodgson, one of the players brought into the England side this afternoon. Adi Gardner out because of an operation. And that's a good start for Hodgson. That'll boost his confidence to get involved, and successfully involved so early on. Here is Earl Crabtree. Big performance from him against the French. Scored the match winner in that game. Alker. Paul Wood. Characteristic running style. Head down and making some good yards there, Wood. Off goes Alker, taking them on. His opposite number. Fayumu is there to make the tackle, aided by Paliasina. Robinson looking to referee Jason Robinson, his namesake. That's the 5th tackle. England not impressed by that. And it was Louis Anderson, I think, who's involved there.
It's a great 5 tackles there from England, making good meters, playing the ball quickly. Win a tackle here now, as you say. It's a great beginning to this match for them. Strong defensively and put into a fantastic position now in which to attack. The kick to touch. First test for the New Zealanders on their own line.
A bit of indiscipline from Anderson there, punished. And here's Crabtree looking to punish them still further and finding a bit of room to manoeuvre there. New Zealand just a bit lackadaisical in defence. Robinson switches it back infield. Wood is tackled just about 5 metres out. Olka, Thorman now, what will he come up with? A stuttering step from him, and then here's John Wilkin. Wilkin brought into this side from the Great Britain squad. Thorman almost ghosted through himself there. Olka pops the ball up for Crabtree, trying to use his strength. He's still going. He's right on that touch, on that try line. And that's the 5th tackle. Olka, Wilkin, they're running it. Robinson stabs the kick in, and that's going to run dead. Jake Webster confident that that was going to go dead, but it's a good start for the England side.
It was, wasn't it? Whether Wilkin was looking to kick through. The kicks from the second receiver out there at Robinson. You know, the difference between sides at this highest level really of rugby league very often is that last tackle play. The side who can put it, keep it in the in-goal area, keep the pressure on the opponents, very often are the side who go on to win. Such is the difference, the minuscule difference. Here's a forced handling error.
Louis Anderson has spilled that ball, and it's a great opportunity. Here's Ben Westwood. Westwood playing on his home pitch. He'll be looking for a big performance in front of this Warrington crowd, who've turned out in good numbers here. Now Stephen Wild, another player brought in from the Great Britain squad to bolster this England side. So this is a really promising start for England. The mistake from Anderson, gifting them possession. Crabtree, nowhere for him to go, but gets it away to Thorman, and then Robinson darting back in field, trying to use his footwork there. 2 tackles gone. Crabtree again, he's seeing plenty of ball early on, he's seeing plenty of the New Zealand defence as well. A willing worker is Earl Crabtree. He's driven back a couple of metres there by a good tackle from Tony Pugliatua. Thorman once more, a little step from Thorman, almost ghosted through. It was a crucial tackle from Louis Anderson there. Olka. Robinson now. Robinson, oh, lovely darting step from Luke Robinson, almost through again, and they really are exploring this New Zealand defence. It's creaking. Can they unhinge it? Little chip kick. Calderwood is there! And the referee, Jason Robinson, will go to the video ref.
That's the last tackle. Can he take the onside and the grounding and the dead ball?
So has the master poacher, Mark Calderwood, come up with it that time.
Well, we talked about
Steve
last
Cross.
tackle plays. Here's a great example of it. Just a short, delicate kick. The players seem to be onside from that angle. Calderwood certainly behind the kick of Thorman when the ball goes to his foot. You can see it again. That angle confirms it. He is onside. The referee now waits as the ball. It's a great kick into the in-goal area. Does he gather the ball and ground it successfully? That angle from behind may be inconclusive. You might get to see from this a better shot.
He certainly loses it, Phil, but then I think he grabs it before it hits the ground. Yeah, it hits his leg. That'll be try. That's TOY time as far as I'm concerned. Good start by the English boys as well.
Paul Kellan on the left-hand side. What's your verdict?
Just want to say how hard Mark Calderwood worked for that try. Hands on the ball, that's a try every day of the week. Probably the only time in that set of 6 Mark Calder was in shape. He followed every single player who took the ball throughout that previous set and finally got on the ball on the last play. Massive effort.
And he's been rewarded with the first try of this game. A fantastic start for England. Relentless pressure, and the mistake from Louis Anderson early on in proceedings really led to that Calderwood try.
And fully deserved as well, Phil, because basically the build-up by the prop forward, Earl Crabtree, has been outstanding. Looking for work, the skill of Thorman, the little dink through. The 2 halfbacks, Thorman and Robinson, they really have been testing this New Zealand defence, and this is game on. This is no Sunday afternoon stroll. The English boys have really taken it to the Kiwis, and they will have to bounce back, because the confidence that's running through this English camp is quite superb.
Chris Thorman a try and 3 goals in the victory over the French, and he's off the mark via the upright against New Zealand, and England off the mark ahead by 6 points to 0. And Mark Calderwood, top try scorer in Super League with 27 tries, 35 in all games over the season, and continuing where he left off in the Super League season.
Mark Calderwood, I've said it before, reminds me a lot of Martin Offiah. He scores so many tries because he puts himself into the right position. As Paul Cullen pointed out, he works hard to be in the right position, but his game awareness is fantastic.
Robinson taking an age to gather that kick and then finding Paul Sykes, and Sykes dangerously close to that left-hand touchline but managing to stay in the field of play. I think Lee Radford gave him a bit of assistance there.
Surrender!
John Wilkin taking the tackle on his own 40-metre line. Here's Paul Wood again, driving that ball in.
Richie Mathers there just pushing up in support, trying to hold the defender off him, getting that quicker play of the ball from which Radford benefits. Great to see players supporting the ball carrier.
There's a bit of spice out there, 1 or 2 verbals being exchanged off the ball, I think, and Louis Anderson has a fair bit to do them. There's Graham Norton, former Kent Invicta player Graham Norton, all those 20 years ago or so he appeared for Kent Invicta alongside the likes of Gary Freeman and Mark Elia, he was saying. Shantaine Harpy now.
And 2, stand up and get square.
That was well taken by Henry Farfili. So New Zealand with a bit of work to do.
Yeah, and the second half of the job now for England is to show some aggression in defence here. Can they contain this go forward from Paliasina and his teammates?
Paliasina, former New Zealand warrior, now a Wigan warrior. And they'll be looking forward to seeing him in action next season. Rebuilding going on at the Wigan side. It's the 5th tackle. What's the kick like from Lance Hahaya? This is a big game for Lance Hahaya, of course, with Stacey Jones out of the reckoning.
Stephen Wild deserves some credit there, Bill. The pressure he put under Hahaya has made that gather and return just a little bit easier for Mathers and Calderwood alongside him.
Motu Tony came steaming in there to try and take Calderwood out. He just ghosted away from him. Really deceptive player, Calderwood. Mathers had a lone spell here at Warrington. So he knows this pitch. David Hodgson. On the back of a great season for the Salford City Reds, Hodgson and Ulker, his teammate, making good yards for England up to the halfway line. They're finding gaps in this New Zealand defence. Here's Paul Wood.
Well, they're kicking on the front foot, aren't they? They're going forward, they've got good metres in possession. When he gets the kick option, well, he's able to put it where he wants it. Look at the chase again there. Is that Calderwood on the left-hand side this time?
Jake Webster running that ball back.
And stand up!
Got a try against Great Britain last weekend. Paul?
Just have to be careful when Mark Calderwood is working that hard. He's completely out of position. Giving credit for doing so, but if the Kiwis pick on it, they can shift down their left edge. You basically leave Ben Westwood on his own with a lot of ground to cover. So 10 out of 10 for effort, but England have got to cover around the back and make sure they don't allow the Kiwis any easy yards digging out of their own 20 and 30.
That was Bronson Harrison taking the tackle, a West Tigers player, but he missed out on their grand final success, did Harrison. This is a big tour for him, the likes of Harrison, the next generation maybe of Kiwi internationals. Louis Anderson shifting it again out to that Kiwi right-hand side where Fatuira is tackled. England doing well defensively, and then Lance Hahaya puts the kick in, but it's straight into the capable hands of Richard Mathers. And Mathers will run it back at them and then lose the ball. Oh, capable hands.
Well, what, 10 minutes in now, the first big test for England. How will they respond here? Mistake inside their own 20. It's a good hit there. Shoulder contact, just spins. I'm not sure whether Lance Hahaya got his hand under the ball intentionally there to just try and pull that one down. It's a great position for them to attack here now, scrums. This is what Kiwis love. A bit of space, their outside backs and their footwork.
Let's get it in. It's out.
Here's Henry Farfili. Wild with the tackle, aided by Chris Thorman.
To me, 30.
20 metres out then, the New Zealand side. Motu Tony just pops the ball up for Ali Lauatiti, who's captaining this New Zealand side today, the Leeds Rhino. England defenders right back on their try line. And the ball's popped up to the big man, Manu Vatuvei, and he's lost that ball. Referee says it went backwards, and Ben Westwood looked up at Jason Robinson in absolute astonishment there. And here come New Zealand. They are surely in for the first try. Well, there's that one gone forward, Mr. Robinson.
It's going to go to the video referee.
You're kidding.
Well, it's a definitely knock on. He tried to offload at the very last moment. But he can't blame the official. He's probably unsighted. It was a good play. They're looking to get away with it, New Zealand. Certainly was a knock-on down on this left-hand side. Lost full control, that should have been it. And then, when Westwood, it was the second knock-on, that really should have been The scrum down, head and feet.
I think the referee, Steve, I thought that Vatuvei lost the ball backwards here.
He has. That's play on.
So then it's a knock on here from England and play on again.
Actually, it was reefed out by the Kiwi, wasn't it? Pushed back.
Pushed backwards.
Yeah.
It was play on. The referee may have made, and the linesman
He got
may
it
have made
right.
the right decision. And I think the referee is going to speak to one of the England players who's given him a little bit of mouthful in back play.
Well, I think I'm proved right there, despite the weight of opposition in that particular argument.
Well, he's bringing it over this end.
So that was
Well,
the
that's
original
an
knock-on. Ali Lauatiti.
Interesting.
That's left the judges up here mystified.
Well, it's no try, is it, either way? It's England ball.
It's been a long season for
Stay
everyone,
back.
hasn't it?
Keep your head in, Brunson. Let's
So
get it in.
a let-off for England there on both flanks, and a warning of what this New Zealand side is capable of, and they're capable of some very strong defence there as well, and that's Stephen Wild going backwards. They've got some work to do to get out of trouble here of England. Suddenly the New Zealanders have just stepped it up a little bit.
I think that was a feature of the test, wasn't it, at Loftus Road last week? They can play in bursts, can't they, of energy, really, where they just hit you with it, be in attack or defence. They can just turn up the heat and they can contain England. So how do they get out of their own quarter here? They're going to have to do something well and find a good kick.
Lee Radford trying to do that. Louis Anderson again involved with a heavy tackle, and Radford certainly felt that. Anderson is putting himself about. That's the 5th tackle. They're on the 30-metre line. Louis Anderson, younger brother of Saints Vinny. And then that's a good kick. That is a good kick. Henry Farfili all the way back on his own 10-metre line to retrieve that, and a pretty good follow-up by the England lads.
Great chase, isn't it? You know they're doing well when you can kick like that and follow it up. And then can they contain New Zealand, put some pressure on their first 3 tackles here?
Movement.
Motu Tony trying to make a little bit of ground. Well, New Zealand back in action next weekend against Great Britain, a crucial game, one that Great Britain have to win. Sky Sports 1 from 5:30. And one or two of these New Zealand players looking to impress their coach, Brian McLennan.
Oh, it's a big problem for Calderwood.
Calderwood involved in that tackle, is down on his knees in back play at the moment. As New Zealand attack on the other flank, and England trying to force Fatuira into touch once again. Hahaya will put the kick in, knowing that England are struggling on that left-hand side. Oh, well, it's been brilliantly taken, and Manu Fatauvai gets over that try line. And while Calderwood was struggling and is still struggling, the New Zealanders capitalised. And 19-year-old Manu Fatauvai, the new beast, was really unchallenged. Calderwood was struggling, is still struggling, now limping back to join those England players behind their try line, and Manu Fatauvai capitalised.
You know, if you just switch off for one play in this game against a side like New Zealand, they're going to score a try, and that's exactly what they did. Too simple, really, at this level. The high kick, Fatauvai the only person underneath it, and it made it look so simple after England working hard for the opening 15 minutes. Great kick from Ohio, perfect position. Fatauvai comes underneath it. Well, nobody from England anywhere near the ball, and the disappointment there now for the guys in white.
Pretty good thinking as well by the little halfback. He realised that Calderwood, of course, was not in the defensive pattern.
So Lance Hahaya back in action after injury last month, and playing for a place against Great Britain next weekend. New Zealand level it here at the Halliwell Jones, 6 points apiece. Mark Calderwood is back in action.
Well, there just weren't enough white shirts interested in the ball coming down, or even interested in escorting any of the New Zealand runners coming through for it. Look, it's only really Fatauvai goes for it. No other Kiwis, and Mathers can't stop him with that distance.
Bottom line, in those situations, you've got to get off the floor. No guarantee you're going to get the ball when doing that, but if you don't get up, you've got no chance of coming up with the ball unless it's a sheer fluke. So those in the air, those who are challenging, always come down with it.
Manu Fatauvai got a try against Great Britain last weekend. Could have had a hat-trick, in fact. The video ref, Bob Connolly, ruled out another couple of efforts from him. And he's still very green, this left winger. Puliatua. New Zealand starting this game sluggishly, but just in the last 5 minutes or so have just started to, as we've said, pick up the pace a little bit. They're just short of the halfway line. Here's Branson Harrison. Fayumu goes on his own. David Fayumu, he's tackled, and England on the back foot as Lance Haya hoists another kick. Richie Mathers is underneath this one. The chase is on from Motu Tony. Mathers has taken it and then gives it to David Hodgson, and Hodgson almost through there. It was a good tackle from Harrison to stop him, but England trying to capitalise now.
That's great transitioning, and coaches talk about turning from defence to attack. As soon as they received possession, he knew where his winger was outside, in a good position to take possession, and back, they're off in attack.
They're away down that left-hand side, and Colwood has made a remarkable recovery. He's going to take him on his own. He'll go all the way. 1 minute he was limping, the next he's legging it. What a recovery from Mark Calderwood. And whatever was in that physio's magic sponge did the trick there. Mark Calderwood gets his 5th England try.
Well, Richie Mathers and David Hodgson deserve some credit for this. They got the ball rolling, and then good hands out to the left wing. Mark Calderwood selected to play on the right wing, finds himself, as Paul Cullen says, all over the field, and in a position where they just outnumber the Kiwi defenders. You see the number 3 for New Zealand, Paul Vataraira. He's stuck there at marker, sends a guy short of defence, and he capitalises with his speed. Mark Calderwood, fantastic finish from a winger. Look here, take up some space. It's a quick play the ball from Alka.
It was good play by the English guys, because they could tell that they were very slow to back up on that right-hand side in defence. An elite little offload. And as I say, he goes looking for work, and this is a superb winger's try. Look how it comes in on the arc, in and out. It's what wingers love to do. No chance for Fafili. And he'll celebrate that. 5 minutes ago, he was looking as though he was going to leave the field of play. He refused to do that.
Chris Thorman from wide out on that left-hand side, looking to drift the ball in, has missed that, but England have signalled their intent. That was really adventurous, and they capitalised, Paul.
Absolutely. You've ever seen a player sending a signal to not only the England coaching staff, but the Great Britain coaching staff that he's on a mission to get into the main side? It's Mark Calderwood. He's done it with his performances with the Leeds Rhinos all season. Wasn't happy about being left out of the main squad, and he's showing Brian Noble, he's showing everybody that he's the next man in.
Brian Noble's watching. He's sitting in the stand there. Carl Jennings, the team conditioner, alongside him. And they've seen Calderwood at his best so far this afternoon. Both sides of the pitch.
You know, Bill, it might only be a small thing, but New Zealand, their kickoffs are good because they're very dangerous for the, very difficult, I should say, for the England team to take. Sooner or later, they're going to get one that goes their way.
And the pitch here is very, very lush. The grass is thick. It's wet, a bit slippery, so the handling's been impressive. Here's Daryl Griffin now, introduced to the fray by the England side. Runs into Feta Paliasina. Thorman looking for a 40-20, is he? Fafili, though, is stationed in just the right position to retrieve that ball, loops round to run it back. And on the follow-up is Alka and Stephen Wild. Fatuvai, that's a good defence from the England side, but Fatuvai is taking some putting down on his own 30-metre line. Here's the other wing, Jake Webster. Fatuvai is big. This guy's stocky. He's different prospect, Jake Webster. And here's Lautiti now. Room to move for Lautiti. Lovely little characteristic flip out the back from Lautiti to Faturai. Lance Haya back in field to Paliasina. They make it look so easy, these New Zealanders. And Motu Tony then stabs the ball over the top, and Mathers knows that that one's going to run dead. probably be disappointed with the end to that set of 6, will the New Zealand side. Carl Harrison just sending out instructions.
They've looked very dangerous, haven't they, when they move the ball wide to the centres. Perhaps sometimes catching England, and as the game goes on, that's an area of concern, I think, for Kyle Harrison and the England side, Paul.
Yeah, the Kiwis have shifted to their right-hand side, trying to get Paul Whatuira over the top of Luke Robinson. It's a bit of an obvious ploy. You know, Luke's defence is probably not his best asset, and they're trying to force some issues down that side, but you've got to give him credit, Luke Robinson. He plays full of energy, full of aggression, and he's going to stay on his feet, and he's going to hit as hard as he possibly can.
Lance Hohaia penalised there for offside. It allows England to take play up to the 40-metre line, and here's Ben Westwood. Oh, that was a big challenge from Fatuvai. He is a bit of a beast. Andy Lynch, and Lynch using his strength to make more good yards for this England side. Off goes Ulker. Stuttering run from the Salford City Reds captain. 3 tackles gone. Lynch again.
Off the ball.
Just short of the try line, England. Coming looking again. They lead by 10 points to 6 here at Halliwell Jones. It's been a great start from them. Wilkin can't keep that ball alive. That's good defence from the New Zealanders that time. The Saints man was just crowded out there.
He did, didn't he? Paul Whatuira did very well on Wilkin, just shunted him over the sideline. He knew he was outnumbered really at one stage, 3-2. But him and his wing partner, Jake Webster, handled the situation pretty well.
Whatuira, grand final winner, of course, just last month against the Cowboys.
Seconds down, seconds.
So it's New Zealand head and feet at this scrum on their own 10-metre line. And Webster stepping out of one tackle there and taking them 10 yards further up the field.
He's holding it.
Keeping the ball alive here. Here goes the hooker, David Faumu.
He's got great footwork, hasn't he? Just as he gets in front of the defender and the defender's trying to put a shot on him, just changes direction, then goes forward. Had to really get a hold of.
3, stand up, square.
Frank Pritchard is on, just taking the tackle there. Here's Shontaine Harpy. Harpy does well to keep it alive, and then Henry Farfili is buried by John Wilkin. Bronson Harrison. Harrison has lost that ball. Play on, says the referee. And a real scramble. And they'll come back. No advantage for this England side.
Well, they'll be pleased to get possession, but they'll be slightly concerned that in that set, New Zealand were able to find a couple of good offloads. And if New Zealand are able to offload the ball, it makes them very difficult to defend against. Naturally, they'll love to keep the ball alive, and if your technique isn't good in defence, well, you have to do 10 tackles every time you've got to do 6.
Oh, Sykes has gone without it, and Whatuira's swooped on that loose ball.
Tackle 1.
Disastrous start to that set of 6 for England, immediately conceding possession, and they could pay for it now. Paliasina out to the back door. Pritchard immediately involved, and Sykes just went without it. He saw Whatuira coming up on him. Lance Hohaia, Motu Tony. Sykes trying to retrieve the situation while he forces Motu Tony to change direction and just puts the brakes on that New Zealand attack for a little while anyway. Faumu, Hohaia again. Louis Anderson trying to take him on the outside. Good defence from England so far. 4 tackles gone. New Zealand threatening. Bronson Harrison, nowhere for him to go.
Done very well, Luke Robinson, then on 2 occasions.
Hohaia now, again kicking across field once more. The man mountain, Manu Vatuvai is there, but this time...
You change your line to take him out.
Well, Calderwood got to the ball, but England are penalised for, I think, taking the man out as Manu Vatuvai.
You can see what the referee's thinking, but he's not changed his line. Stephen Wilder stood perfectly still there.
You're absolutely right, Phil. The referee has made a mistake. What you're not allowed to do is run off at an angle and deliberately charge a man coming onto the ball. He hasn't done it. He stood his ground, and the Kiwi ran straight into the back of him. 10 out of 10 for Mark Calderwood. He got off the floor and he got the ball.
Well, this could be punishment for England here, because it's a great position for this New Zealand side. Whatuira coming across the field. Thorman trying to close Lautiti down. He goes back the way the ball came to Zali Lauatiti, then pops the ball
Backwards!
and it's still alive. It's gone backwards.
Up and hold!
Referee Jason Robinson not doing England any favours. They've had to put up with the Australian referee last night.
Surrender, four!
They've got another Australian referee today.
Stay square!
Griffin with the tackle on Hahaya. Ball back in field. Oh, great defence again from England. That's the 5th tackle. Stopped just short was Paliasina. They've lost the ball, have the New Zealanders. Play on, says referee Jason Robinson. Well, and eventually they come back for the knock-on.
He attempted to grub it through to the in-goal area. I think it fell into the arms of Stephen Wild, but he couldn't take position. Great tackle there by Griffin. We see here on the last tackle, so the attempted grubber in the in-goal area. It comes forward off Wild there. And the New Zealanders get another chance to attack England.
To be fair, I think justice was done there. You could see that the centre, Ben Westwood, made no attempt to get back over the whitewash, which you must do within that 10-metre line.
Relentless pressure at the moment from this New Zealand side, looking to level the scores here at the Halliwell Jones. Fatuira, Hodgson doing a good job on him again. They're trying to get him into touch, and they've done it again. Great defence from this England side.
Tremendous spirit shown by the boys in white.
And the sort of spirit that Carl Harrison embodied as a player as well.
This is quite superb. Oh, great stuff. Hodgson, Sykes, talk about putting your body on the line. They did the right thing. Referee has got it absolutely spot on. And look at Richard Mathers slapping them on the back. There's great spirit out there.
Well, it's got England off the hook there.
Well, there are times in a game where, you know, you make the mistake and sometimes you just got to cop that. It's what you do on the back of it. You know, England put the ball on the floor from the previous scrum, made themselves a little bit of a, you know, hard work to do, but they've dug in deep. They've come up with some good defence. You know, Big Griffin, the prop forward, try-saving tackle, and now the three-quarters have pushed the man in touch. So there's some great signs there for England.
But they're struggling to get out of their own half. They're under real pressure from New Zealand at the moment.
Every now and again, New Zealand can do this, can't they? They just hold you still for 5 or 6 tackles there. Luckily, they've crept up to the 35. Again, can they find the long kick? This time it's Wilkin.
Big boot from John Wilkin straight into the midriff of Henry Farfili, and he'll run it right back at this red and white defensive line.
Well, the New Zealand camp will be quite happy with the way that the defence has been, especially in the forwards, but it's just out wide, and that's where England have got to start pinpointing. They've been successful out wide. We've already seen the beautiful try from Calderwood, and that's where the Kiwis could be a little bit soft.
Graham Norton watching there, Brian McLennan alongside him, having delegated coaching duties to him today. It's a bit of a family affair out there because Graham Norton's son Dale is one of the conditioners of this New Zealand tour party. He's involved as well. New Zealand pressing at the moment, looking to get on level terms. Again, Hahaya kicks. Again, Calderwood is there to take it. Oh, and trying to find a little bit of space, Calderwood. The tackle from Frank Pritchard. But he's looking dangerous, is Mark Calderwood. Looking for a penalty there. Referee Robinson saw nothing wrong.
Well, they've been under pressure, haven't they, now, for about 5 minutes inside their own half, England, and if you continue to spend that length of time in there, something cracks eventually. They need to get forward, whether it's a penalty or a break. They need to get out to their half because the New Zealand dominance just keeps on increasing.
Now's the time to be patient. Just keep on with the go forward, but your kicking game has got to be very, very good. The kick needs to split the winger and fullback, possibly rolling goal, and that England will get that energy burst to get to the other end of the field and hold the Kiwis in deep.
Mathers just scrambling another couple of metres up to the halfway line, and then Alka puts that kick in, but again it's straight to Henry Farfili. He didn't have to move for that ball, it came straight to him.
Well, that's the second occasion that England have just made it very soft indeed for the full-back. Carl Harrison has got to get the message out and say, look, you've got to kick into the open space, you've got to turn these Kiwis around.
Shantae Harpy nearly lost that ball. Here's Jake Webster, and England are penalised.
I think they're just starting to tire. Maybe watching on television, we can appreciate the size and strength of the Kiwis. Even when Australia or Great Britain play against them, they do begin to take it out of their opponents. Sheer physically, it's hard to hold on to them.
Big Joe Vangenaar's on the field. What's he, Phil? About 19, 20 stone. You know, he's just going to take some stopping. He's just going to roll onto this ball, and you've got to be at your best just to keep hold of him.
And there he is in possession, the Bradford ball, and popping the ball out the back door to former club colleague Robbie Paul, now a Huddersfield Giant, of course. Robbie, Motu Tony, Hull FC, with a Super League involvement at the moment, Super League input into this New Zealand effort. What can they do? Here is another Super League player to Chantain Harpe, and Harpe is in, and the dam has burst, and they made it look so easy then. After all that valiant defence from England, New Zealand just clicking into gear there and running smoothly through the gears, and Leslie Vainikolo will have been impressed by that.
I think he'll have been impressed by the fact that his team built that try, didn't they, over a 5 or 6 minute period, just got downfield, and eventually the skills allied with the field position converted into points. Nice passing there, gets outside of Thorman. Calderwood's lost then with his winger still outside him. Good short passes, players running into holes, and Harpe, well, he'll score from there all day long.
As a coach, you'd like to see your half-backs kicking the ball from good field position. I don't care whether it's Stuart Fielding or Malcolm Alker, they're not the blokes you want on the ball when you've got to come up with a great kick. That should have been Luke Robinson, it should have been Chris Thorman. Henry Farfield is playing his first game ever at fullback, as far as I'm aware. Last time he played for the Kiwis, he played at standoff, and every kick has gone straight to him. Someone somewhere has got to split the wingers and fullbacks and turn the Kiwis around, make them come from their own 20. The kicking game's gone a little bit soft, and we're paying the price.
Lance Hahaya then to give New Zealand the lead. He's done that. And Hahaya converts the try scored by Chantain Harpe. England 10, New Zealand 12 here at the Hallowell Jones Stadium. And that looked ominous for England, Phil.
It did, yes. Here we see Chris Thorman was just attracted to the presence, really, of Alalawa-Titi, and that creates the space for Harpe to go over outside of him. But with the skill and the size of the Kiwi side, you can't really afford to defend on your line for very long. Somehow somebody will find a way over your line. They must try as best they can to stay away from that area of the field. You've noticed a fatigue maybe setting in with England, Steve-O. They're now not putting the kicker under pressure when it gets to the last tackle.
Yeah, to be fair, I think that the defence from the Kiwis, especially in the forwards, has been extremely tough. They are a big outfit. All of them are very big, including the three quarters as well. And I think that England will be playing into their hands if they try to take it down the middle yet again. We've already seen, and especially early in this first half, that they've got to utilise the ball out wide. That is the one problem that they've got. Oh, there's a penalty for not playing the ball correctly.
He's playing it as I've called.
Robbie Paul just querying that, and Joe Vagana wanting to know exactly what was there, because he never got into a position to play the ball, I think.
Well, I don't know what from Joe. I don't know what play the ball.
Yeah.
And he's a bit mystified, is Joe Vangana there.
Well, that just goes to demonstrate his strength, though, Paul. He was able to play the ball while three men were trying to tackle him.
I think he's just caught the referee out. He was that cool and confident with it. He was soaking up the attention from three defenders and just pops it down and plays it. He's caught the referee out with his smartness, I think.
Well, he's been penalised, and England with an opportunity to level the scores through Chris Thorman's boots. Took New Zealand 33 minutes to get their noses in front, and Thorman has his way. It won't last long. He's a very accurate goal kicker, as this Geordie standoff, man of the match against the French at Headingley just a couple of weeks ago. And straight onto the posts, not 30 metres out, and should be a formality for Thorman. It is. And England are level again. Well, they're hanging in there. But New Zealand have had the upper hand, certainly, for the last 15 minutes or so.
And that was good thinking of just winding the clock down, giving the chance to the English guys to a bit of a breath back. He'd be quite happy, Carl Harrison. It's been an impressive display, especially in the opening 15 minutes.
Well, he's got an unbeaten record as England coach so far. He won't want to see that go without a struggle here against the New Zealanders. Anyway, Daryl Griffin having to pick that ball up on his own 10-metre line, and then is immediately devoured by the New Zealand defence. Andy Lynch now If England can get to half-time on level terms, that will be a very commendable achievement by Carl Harrison's side. Wilkin. Griffin.
That's 4.
Just up to their own 40-metre line. 4 tackles gone. Now here's Lee Radford. Radford just had to adjust for that ball, and he's spilled it, and they could pay the price here. Shontayne Happe galloping away, dragged to the ground by Stephen Wild. And this is an opportunity for the New Zealanders to regain the lead here. Robbie Paul to Joe Wagner, who just swats Luke Robinson aside there. Get out of the way. Then offloads back to Robbie Paul, and he's swallowed up by Andy Lynch's tackle. Lance Hahaya. Nobody on the move for New Zealand, though. A little bit static. Now Willie Poaching trying to get them going forward. Big day this for Willie Poaching, achieving an ambition here to play in black and white of New Zealand. Here's Frank Pritchard. Pritchard is dumped to the ground. Good tackle by the tackle machine, Malcolm Alker. Paul pops it up. Lance Hahaya, and a great ball to Shontayne Happe, and Happe using his strength. Can he get it down? Great defence from England that time. 4 tackles gone. It was a lovely pass from Ali Laurititi that almost sent Shontayne Happe in. The danger's not gone yet. Here's Motu Tony. Motu Tony will take him on up the middle. Then to Joe Vangana. Vangana pops it over the top. They're going backwards, and Henry Farfili picks it up. And that's a loss of yards, considerable loss of yards for New Zealand. They're on the 5th now. The chance has gone surely. So Lance Hahaya again hoists a high ball. Richie Mathers just stood and watched that one bounce. That was dangerous. And a let-off for England there.
Well, you're right, Bill, just to survive there, but here they won't survive for much longer. Mark Calderwood's got trapped in goal. And that's a costly error. Great kick again, dangerous one for them to deal with.
I was just going to say, Phil, that whistle can't come quick enough now for half-time. That extra weight, that extra experience that the Kiwis have over this young England side is just beginning to take its toll. And big Joe Vangana, we saw him make that that so-called mistake a little bit early on, where he tried to play the ball without being tackled.
Well, there's
whether he got it wrong or we got it wrong, you know, he's just playing with these guys. He's swatting people off.
There you see a bit of a problem for Laurititi. Probably twisted the ankle on that. He's refusing to come off the field of play. He knows there's only 2 minutes remaining of this first half.
So they come down the other side to New Zealand.
2. Movement.
Just a couple of minutes to go until half-time. Can England survive and hold them at bay here to keep this scoreline level? Here's Farfili. Thorman wrestling with him, trying to bring him down on that 20-metre line. Radford is there to help out as well. Lance Hahaya, little darting run from Hahaya. Calderwood, oh, that was cool from Calderwood.
Well, I'm sure England will be delighted there. They must have talked about surviving for 1 minute there from that goal line dropout, and they did it. The accuracy of the kick, or inaccuracy of the kick, I should say, probably just helped them out there with it going out of play. And they'll just now want to complete here and get to half-time.
This kick has got to be very good. Complete this set, put some length on it, turn Henry Farfili around. 12-12, you'd take this at the start of the game against a side as good as the Kiwis, with as much talent, as much skill and as much experience.
Lynch doing well to offload there. Well, throwing caution to the wind for a moment. Wilkin keeping it alive. Jamie Jones-Buchanan as well. And then Paul Sykes is tackled just short of that halfway line. Robinson. Wilkins gone without it. Still 40 seconds or so they needed to complete that set.
Well, that's just the experience of the quality of this virtually full international side that we're seeing here from New Zealand, and the inexperience that we have. Some of the guys learning their apprenticeship. Now, there's no problem about making mistakes, but you've got to learn from it. That's a completion, that's kick and chase and have a go at the other end.
Not a good pass from Lance Hahaya, made Shontayne Happe have to adjust and pick that ball up from his toes. Stacey Jones, of course, unavailable. Lance Hahaya playing for that position. Looking a little bit rusty as the New Zealand number 7. Here's Big Joe. Takes 3 of them to bring him down. The clock running down. It'll be a kick surely from Lance Hahaya with the seconds ticking away. That's 1 for Vatuvei to chase. Mathers is back there and hurls the ball into the crowd. There goes the hooter, and Carl Harrison Harrison's side have done him proud in this first 40 minutes. And Graham Norton's team haven't yet hit the heights. They've been made to battle all the way, and at half-time, the sides are level. England battling proudly. It's England 12, New Zealand 12.
Terrific first half for the English. Well done to Carl Harrison and his team. That's 4.5 games unbeaten now for Carl Harrison. And what about this fellow, Mark Calderwood, showing a clean pair of heels to the New Zealand defence, giving Brian Noble a nudge, maybe. England 12, New Zealand 12 at half-time.
What a run it is! Senior to win the match! Oh, spectacular! Oh, fabulous! Unbelievable this! What a magnificent try!
Tri Nations continues next weekend. It's Great Britain against New Zealand. It's a 5:30 start on Sky Sports 1, and it's quite simple. Great Britain have got to win, and by quite a margin as well. 5:30 Saturday night, Sky Sports 1. See if they do. I'd like to think Great Britain were playing this New Zealand lineup, but I don't think they will be. It's 12-all to in this international. 12-all, England and New Zealand. Oh, well, nearly down the cul-de-sac. Turned round and came back, and England nearly down the cul-de-sac at times as well. They have had to do some defence in that first half, and will it take its toll in the second 40 minutes? Over 100 tackles already, but 3 clean breaks and a fantastic try from Mark Calderwood, something we'll talk about, I think, during this half-time break. And New Zealand will Lance O'Hire. He's a little bit ring rusty. He is trying to fill the shoes of Stacey Jones, but what shoes they are. 12 apiece at the break between the Young English and this New Zealand side that's filled with Super League experience. Great first half, though, from England. Credit to them, credit to Carl Harrison and his team for that. We've got Paul Cullen alongside Phil, Stevo and me today, and we must talk about Mark Calderwood. Paul, I think, first of all, a fantastic try down the left wing, not his normal position. He crossed the field, outstripped Henry Farfili for pace. I'm going to put you on the spot. If you were the Great Britain coach, if you were Brian Noble, would you now be saying Mark Calderwood has got to play for me on Saturday in the Tri Nations?
Not on the back of the performance from the two wingers last night. Asked me this question 7 days ago, and the answer would have been yes. He stuck with Leon Price and Brian Carney. And they're the decisions you've got to make sometimes as a coach. You know, the spirit within your camp is very, very important. That's not to decry the ability of Mark Calderwood. I think we're just very, very fortunate. We have a winger with that ability, with that desire and drive that wants to get into that full Great Britain side. If Mark Calderwood was playing for Australia or New Zealand, people will be doing handcarts over the and handstands, if that's the right phrase, on the effort and the quality and skill we've just seen. At 1 minute, he's out for the count. He got a whack to the outside of his knee. I think possibly tweaked his medial on the inside. Couldn't get up for love nor money. Found some energy, some effort from somewhere. Crossed the field, backed up again, and completely outstripped a very good Kiwi backline and scored in the corner. It's a great effort, you know. It's as opposed to now possibly having a pop at Brian Carney or Leon Price or that setup. I think we just should be fortunate the fact we've got some quality wingers who can score tries.
Well, he can score tries. He proved that in the first half. Look, I have never played the game of rugby league. I've never coached the game like Paul has. Phil and Stevo have both played the game of rugby league, and Phil is very much involved in the Great Britain setup at the moment. It's probably unfortunate we're going to dominate this discussion at half-time about Mark Calderwood and about the chance maybe for a change and a little tweak that Brian Noble has to make, because he has to throw caution to the wind for the next 2 games, doesn't he? Is Mark Calderwood the answer to our problems?
I wouldn't necessarily say Mark Calderwood was the answer. No, I also say I don't really need to throw caution to the wind. I think the amount of improvement from the first game to the second, if that can continue for the next 2 weeks, Eddie, who knows whether we'll actually make it through to that final.
But they've got to score points, Phil. Great Britain have got to score points, and 38 points more than either Australia or New Zealand over the next 2 weeks to get there.
And he's a point scorer, I accept that. So you make a very valid point, and I'm sure it's one thing that Brian Noble will be pondering tonight when he goes away from this game. Some tough decisions to make selectorally throughout the whole of the 17, really. Who do you go for? And that's the question. We'll have a second chance to look at how New Zealand play here. And it all sets up a great game next week. We've also got a pretty good second half on our hands here, because England really have played well in that first half to go in at half-time 12-all, and I just hope that they can find the energy to play in the second half they have done with the first.
Indeed so. Well, let's take a look at the first half and the tries that were scored. And I know that Steve-O will have a view about Mark Calderwood, because I remember in 2003, Steve-O, England A against Australia, Maguire, Burrow tore them to shreds is maybe a bit strong, but they played very well. We led the calls for them to be included. They never were.
No, it's always difficult, it isn't, for a coach. And Brian Noble, he will be watching. He will have seen those 2 tries from Calderwood, and they were very good tries indeed. You know, you must be doing something right when you lead the try-scoring list in Super League. It's a very tough game, and it was a good kick through from Thorman. He did very well to get that. He just juggled with the ball, but got it down. But when he got injured, full credit to the Kiwis. Ohio gets the kick high, and I'm afraid that you can see Calderwood limping back. So there was very few numbers. Fatavai was always going to score the try there, and it looked as though they were going to fall apart. But he was half dead 2 seconds before this. It switched from the right to the left, and that is a superb in and out try from a winger. Absolutely outstanding. And then they just tired a little bit. It was just basic there. You could see Thorman had been just sucked in a little bit to Westwood, and the gap was through for Harpy. And it looked perhaps as though the Kiwis were going to run away with it. But full credit, I have been so impressed with the attitude of this England side. You know, they came out with all guns blazing. They took them on in the forwards, and that's not easy against this very big Kiwi pack. But it's out wide that they've got to try to test their arm. They've got to try to get it out of those forwards. Forwards, they looked very, very tired at England just before the half-time break. And not surprisingly, they took the penalty to equal the score. They want to give the rest. They were looking at it was going to be half-time when the Kiwis were just coming back into the ascendancy. They look to be controlling on the game. If they can get off to a very good start again, ask a few questions of this Kiwi defence, which I think is still a little bit fragile on the ruck, outside on the three-quarter line. If they can do that and score another try, who knows? We could have a shock on our hands.
We could indeed, and an interested spectator in the crowd here at Warrington, Henry Paul, to see brother Robbie. And of course, rumours persist that Henry Paul, he's had his problems recently at Gloucester, and rumours persist that he is on his way back to rugby league. We shall see. That's something for the months and weeks ahead. We have got a very good international on our hands here, and Paul Cullen has been watching it, and we've dealt with the Mark Calderwood situation, but Carl Harrison has got some spirit. We talked about Brian McLennan's spirit for the Kiwis. Carl Harrison's got this England team together, hasn't he?
You can see in the work they did off the ball in defence that they're taking a lot of pride in getting around the back, scrambling and shutting down on the mistakes that England have made. And to be fair, that's the only thing that has allowed the Kiwis to get those 12 points. A couple of unforced errors that well, you've got to dig deep and cover up, and they've done well to do that. I'd just like to see a little bit more solidity on that right edge. Ben Westwood been swapped with Stephen Wild, who started in the left second row. Stephen Wild then playing right centre. And then you have Lee Radford swapping to right second row. Stuart Reardon, like to see him on the field. You know, a three-quarter on the field instead of players who are back rowers occasionally having to be put in the centre when needs are most. Well, Stuart Reardon's fit. We'd like to see him out there and having a real go in his in his natural positions as a three-quarter.
Paul Cullen speaking with the Warrington Wolves hat on there, of course. Stuart Reardon will be a member of Paul's squad in Super League next year. Right, let's go to the break and look forward to the second half. And the New Zealanders certainly pose a threat, don't they? This is Manu Vatuvei. He's bigger and younger and better than Leslie Vanakola, they say. Takes some stopping. It's 12-all at the break.
We're on Sky Sport.
About to start the second half here at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. England 12, New Zealand 12. Calderwood with 2 tries, Thorman 2 goals, Vatuvei and Harpy the tries for New Zealand, and Lance O'Hire with the 2 goals. And Brian Noble, the coach of Great Britain, in the stands here watching this match, and rightly so. And I wonder what thoughts are going through his mind. He looks quite relaxed, doesn't he, Brian? And he's got a huge challenge facing him and his Great Britain boys over the next fortnight. Right, the players are out, and let's go back to our commentary team. The boys have all joined Bill Arthur.
Well, 5 years ago in the World Cup semi-final at Bolton, New Zealand beat England 49 points to 6. That was the last time these two sides met. Carl Harrison's side have certainly redressed the balance so far here. It was 21-0 at half-time in that game, 12-all here at the Halliwell Jones at half-time. Admittedly, that was a full-strength New Zealand side, but this, it has to be said, is a New Zealand side with plenty to play for. Their nation heading, they hope, for the Tri-Nations final at Elland Road at the end of this month. Places at stake still in Brian McLennan's side. But they're up against a very spirited England team who have matched them toe-to-toe so far here. And matching them toe-to-toe for another 40 minutes is going to be the big question for this England side. It is a big, bruising New Zealand outfit. And here's the biggest bruiser of them all, Joe Vangana, taking them up to halfway. But that is, again, good defence from this England side, and whether they can keep this up is the question. Now Willie Poaching, getting his chance after so many appearances for Western Samoa. Willie Poaching with the Leeds Rhinos for another year. Robbie Paul, now a giant. Motu Tony. Joe Vangana, oh, that was a lovely dummy from Big Joe. He's going backwards, but they're going forwards with Ali Lauatiti stopped just short. That's the 5th tackle. Robbie Paul is there. England regrouping, and just a little stray pass which gives England a bit of time. Hodgson under pressure here from the kick. It's a great kick and a great try from Jake Webster. Well, Lance Hahaya has struggled to impress this afternoon. He is, of course, playing for Stacey Jones's place, but that was a great kick, and again, great finish on the kick for Graham Norton's side. Perfect start to the second half for New Zealand.
You couldn't find a better way to begin the second half than what the Kiwis have just done here. From the very kick-off, really, they went forward, even found an offload in the first play of this second half. And then on the back of that, well, came to the last tackle. They got the ball to the man who kicks it most accurately for them, Lance Ohio. He put it exactly where it needed to be. And James Webster just put himself where he needed to be to take the kick. It's a perfect beginning, really, to the second half. Great kick here, and even though Hodgson's in the right position, can't get up in the air, and Webster takes it. Massive disappointment for England.
Jake Webster got 2 tries against Australia earlier in the Tri-Nations competition. Certainly a man in form. Lance Hahaya then with this conversion attempt from out wide. I think he's drifted that one in front of the posts. It's a lot to live up to, the mantle of Stacey Jones.
Pretty good play by the Kiwis, and it just shows you the difference at times, the composure. It wasn't the best pass, but Farfili, the fullback, didn't panic. He looked to see where the man who is out there to do the job, and that is the halfback, Ohaya. And it was a superb high kick and an even better take by Webster. They've impressed me, these two Kiwi wingers, Webster, Fatavai. Very, very strong indeed.
All that extra work we had to do in the first half, Mike, we did very well to go in at 12-all. All that extra work we had to do in defence might just start now to take its toll. You know, big Joe Vangana then just strode through the middle of that set and literally did what he wanted with the England players. The signs could be ominous if we don't get amongst them and start knocking them and keeping them back deep in their own quarter.
Frank Pritchard with a storming run there for New Zealand. Let's get half-time news down to the sidelines. Chris Warren.
Well, firstly, with England, there's no injuries to report of. Calderwood looks fine as he's running freely. Coach Carl Harrison, he said that he was pretty happy with the first half performance. He'd like to see them get back to their game plan. A couple of times they strayed from that and get some of their structure back in attack. He particularly wants them to get to the end of their sets and really maintain and put some pressure on the New Zealand team. For the New Zealand team, their coach Graham Norton, pretty happy with the first half performance. He was disappointed that they didn't finish off a couple of sets and kill a couple of good opportunities in the first half. They had plenty of possession on the England line and didn't come up with the points. Also, they'd like to continue getting to the back end of their sets. I spoke also to Brian McLennan in the halftime interval. He also was talking to his boys in the sheds at halftime. He's very, very happy with his 2 wingers on this tour in Jake Webster and Manu Vatuvei. Webster now 4 tries from 4 games. Vatuvei last week, of course, at London denied twice. He's scored already on this occasion. He looked to be limping, actually, Manu Vatuvei, going into the dressing rooms at half-time. He looks fine now when he came back out. And on the injury front also with Ali Lauatiti, he is A-OK.
Well, in between, that was a great defensive set from England to close Lance Ahaya down when he was looking for the kick option. It just wasn't there. They did really well to rattle the New Zealand scrum half. So they withstood that challenge. Now can they pose a challenge to this New Zealand team? But they did well, the New Zealanders. Thormann's grubber kick eventually picked up by the big man Vatuvei.
They showed enterprise, didn't they, in the kick? But this is where really now they need to find some energy. When they come to defend here, they need to somehow match what New Zealand throw at them. Big fellas falling forward. There's been some good technique work, trying to turn the Kiwi, dominate that tackle. But it's hard with the size and the speed with which these guys are coming at England.
Paul, if you compare the last two sets, one for England and one for the Kiwis, the Kiwi team worked very, very well to set up the right man to kick the ball for the big jump from Webster to get over the top and to come up with a score. England top end of the field, it's a kick for himself off Chris Thormann that nobody really got to and you know, caused any problems on the back off.
Ahaya has got away this time. That was the gap he was looking for, but he couldn't find Henry Fa'afili with the pass. And the referee will bring it back. But it was a great sniping break from Lance Ahaya.
Well, that's always the problem if you do get one player to try and put kick pressure onto Ohio. It was John Wilkin on that occasion. He got on the outside of him, the defenders were behind, and he penetrated the hole. Luckily for England, he managed to find a Kiwi handling error.
Was that a generous decision from the referee, Jason Robinson?
Well, it certainly looked that way, but the one thing about this fella, Lance Ahaya, he is building in confidence. We posed the question before the game started, Bill. Could New Zealand click into gear without Stacey Jones? And I think it was important that both the coaches realised that this guy has to start taking them on. And that shows you that he's got the confidence to do that.
It's Paul Wood, the man with no number. England have run out of numbers by the look of things in a clean shirt. And Robinson puts the kick in under a little bit of pressure, but gets a good kick there, finds a decent touch just to put New Zealand back deeper in their own half and relieve a little bit of pressure. And what England don't want to do is to allow the New Zealanders to build up sustained momentum. If they can just keep them at bay.
Paul, do you think that suits England or New Zealand more, the ball going out of play?
It'll suit the Kiwis at the moment because they've got the game by the scruff of the neck. They can take a little bit of a breather now just to suck a bit in because you know something's going to come on the back of this set. England can't afford to be too adventurous, Phil, and check the risk of tossing up too much easy ball. So it's a hard balance. I'd just rather see that ball go into the in-goal area where England can push up hard. They can chase, they can use that energy, a little bit of footwork in there, and maybe take some juice off the Kiwis.
Robbie Paul, there's Big Joe again. First New Zealand call-up for 5 years, and he's making the most of it, is Big Joe Vangana. 25 caps previously for his country, and he's made a big impact on this game. He was on a beach in Turkey, enjoying an end-of-season break when he got a phone call telling him that he was being called into the New Zealand squad. Well, it looks as though he's turned up, meaning to make the most of it. Frank Pritchard now. One of the maybe next generation of the New Zealanders to come through.
Well, he looks like a 400-metre athlete, doesn't he, when he comes on the ball? Great athletic stride.
Ali Lauatiti, little chip kick. Oh, and Stephen Wild managing to retrieve the situation. It looked as though the ball had got away from him there. Is he held? Well, he's kept the ball alive now then. Who's the penalty going to go to there? It's going to go to England, says the referee, who says that the player was held. Fatuera is the man penalised. Trying to get to his own back then because he was dumped into touch very early on in the proceedings. In fact, I think it's happened to him twice.
A late call from the referee to give England the penalty. It might have even been better to let Mark Calder run on with it.
And another penalty goes England's way. And the beast is loose. Manu Vatuvei just losing his cool a bit there. Still a teenager, but you wouldn't want to tangle with him.
Let him go.
Great play by Alka. He knew that the men had made no attempt to get back into the 10-metre mark, and he knew he's a clever player. Been around a while, Alka, and he knew that this guy was making no attempt to get back. A little bit slow in getting the penalty from the official, Jason Robinson, but it came eventually. It's up to England now to just slow the game down. Don't panic.
All the way back, all the way!
Through the sets of 6 and make sure they get that consecutive set. Little kick into the in-goal area.
Bill, it's taken them 10 minutes for England to get possession this second half to attack New Zealand. They must use it fruitfully.
Crabtree and the Wolves supporters finding their voice. They're hearing good numbers. The Warrington public have turned out to support this game, and they're hoping that England can get back on level terms as Thorman pops the ball up. First real opportunity of this second half to examine this New Zealand defence. Paul Wood, Robinson, but he's dragged to the ground by Willie Poaching. They've lost a couple of metres there. Wilkin pops it up. Mathers back on the inside, and Lee Radford was never going to be able to take that.
Off England first, New Zealand 3.
And England concede possession.
Give Louis Anderson some credit there, didn't he? Tracked across, worked from the inside when the ball had gone past him. Put himself there, marking Lee Radford had he taken the ball. Referee's given the Kiwis possession from an English handling error. Oh, great footwork there by Webster.
Lovely step from the wingman. A quick play the ball. And England struggling to regroup as Ali Lauatiti makes good yards and is then scragged to the ground on the 40-metre line. Bit of desperation in the England defence at the moment, trying to keep these New Zealanders at bay. Frank Pritchard again. He's seen plenty of action in this second half. 4 of them to bring him down. Crabtree was leading the way. John Wilkin in there as well. Motu Tony now. Willie Poaching that very characteristic running style. He's lost the ball, and it's a knock-on. And Jamie Jones-Buchanan was right in his face there, and pats all round. Paul Sykes, Paul Wood as well.
Well, they're having to work very hard, aren't they? They're forcing Poaching backwards. It's come up with a mistake with some good aggression in defence.
Jamie Jones-Buchanan looks to the touch judge. Come on then, surely. Yes.
Seconds down, boys.
You can't knock the character of this England effort. You know, it's a little bit short on quality and execution at times, but they're having a real dig at this. If they make a mistake, they roll the sleeves up and get stuck in.
Thorman with a half break. Wild, oh, that was dangerous. And Calderwood fortunately retrieved the situation. Fatavai all over his back. There's a real clash of styles there with big Manu Fatavai, who is a bruiser of a wingman, and Mark Calderwood all pace and trickery as well.
Lyle Crabtree's doing what England definitely need, isn't he? He's tending to go forward before they start to do anything in possession. To establish a platform to work from.
Here is Thorman once more, and Thorman, popped that ball over his shoulder, looking for Richie Mathers, but it went forwards.
Well, at least it's inventive, and that they are trying something. They've got the confidence to do it. He knew that there was going to be someone there, and it was the full back, Richie Mathers, but just drifted forward.
I don't quite know, Mike, whether the third tackle was the time to put that play on. You better, you know, just pulling it in a little bit, get to the top end of the field, work a kicking goal, just pinch a little bit of juice. There's a big Kiwi side.
That's the type of player he is, though, Paul, isn't he? You know, Chris Thorman he can break down a defence because he'll do something like that early in the tackle count.
Wilkin spun away from that tackle with a bang in the face from one of his own players. I think it was good work from Sykes and Robinson again. Paul Sykes, an unsung hero in this England side, getting through plenty of work. The London Bronco, I should say Harlequin now. Here's Robbie Paul. Sniping run from the Huddersfield Giant recruit. Once a higher now. Farfili pops it up. Oh, big tackle on Paliasina there. Needed to be. Radford was in there. Hahaya puts the kick in. And Mathers is going to have to watch this one. Well, he does well there. Fatavai was chasing it. Calderwood was shoulder to shoulder with him.
What was the magic? 5 plays off the ruck, all one out, and a kick in the corner and a chase. You've got to build pressure. You don't want to be tossing the ball over too early.
So England are still hanging in there. They conceded that try early in the second half, which has given New Zealand the lead again. Just 2 minutes into the second half, in actual fact, but they've steadied the ship once more. Now here's Stuart Reardon, the man they were calling for at half-time. Reardon, who was a Great Britain player last year, has been a bit on the outer this year, not just internationally, but at the Bradford Bulls as well. Injury has played a part in that, and now a Warrington Wolf, or will be next season. They're on halfway, and Thorman puts a better kick in. That is a good kick, and Calderwood is chasing it, and Farfili is dithering. Now then, did he push that ball into touch, Farfili? And the referee, I think, is going to have to consult the touch judge on this. And Farfili got a touch, and he was just caught napping there. It was a great kick from Thorman, and Calderwood is out to impress.
Well, it's almost worth 2 points, this, Paul, isn't it? Because it's a half a chance here now to get a try. Look at the pressure that he put under Farfili. He's touched possession and he's touched the sideline.
The quality of the kicking game, complete. Put the pressure on with the kick, get to the top end of the field and force the issue. Get the ball back, and you've got to do something with it.
Can they do something with it now? Richie Mathers, it's opening up for England now for Hodgson, and it's paid off. David Hodgson gets the try. The scores are level again. An enterprising play from this England side. Thorman's kick, Calderwood's chase on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, the other winger, David Hodgson, dots the ball down. Well, England rewarded.
I've seen 1 or 2 good tries from scrums by Warrington at this ground this year. Here's a pretty good example of one from England. It's great to see a team prepared to move the ball when in a good attacking position. That's exactly what England do here. Here's a kick through, and all a result really of Mark Calderwood's enthusiasm here to chase this ball. Even though Vatavai tries to push him out the way, he won't be denied, and he helps his teammates to come up with a scrum. Good pass there, the ball out the back there. Eventually the defenders come in, and the ball over the top allows Hodgson to score in the corner. You can see here now the lift that this has given to the England side. Mathers drifts across, just delays the pass until he's committed the winger, and then when he knows Hodgson's got space, releases the pass.
It helps if you've got the right man in the right position with the right player. You don't need a hooker kicking the ball directly to a fullback to return the ball on you. Chris Thorman's got a very, very good kicking game. It's long, it's accurate, and that was inch perfect. The right men doing the right job, and you've got a chance.
And Thorman, is he the right man for the job here? Another difficult kick from the touchline. Oh, a whisker away, but England really are standing toe-to-toe with this big New Zealand side, and it's 16 apiece.
Jake Webster's done some good things in defence, but we see him here circled. He's far too far in field. He's coming to take the man. It allows space for Hodgson. And then what a lift here now for England. Going into the final quarter, Steve-O, it's game on.
Certainly is, and full credit to them. I've been calling for the fact that it's very difficult to break down the Kiwis down the middle. We saw there just a link from the base of the scrum. Perfect rugby league football, finished off in style. And if you can catch your defence, you slide in defence, 2-on-1, and that's what they did. You had a stroll in.
David Hodgson making his first England appearance. He's won 3 Great Britain caps previously. And then the kick is out on the full. And Motu Tony hangs his head because he's committed the cardinal sin.
I thought maybe Chris Thorman might have let to kick at goal, but here, no, they want to go on with it. They've got some momentum behind them, and that is a superb kick to touch. Far too often in rugby league, people waste that opportunity to take up space.
Well, the crowd might not be quite on a par with the 25,000 or so who were at the JJB last night, but they're certainly lifting. Mind you, New Zealand are lifting now, and that's Earl Crabtree, who's lost 10 metres there in the big gang tackle, but Olka straight up the middle regains those lost yards. And England really are rising to the occasion here. Thorman now, a little bit of trickery from Thorman. Oh, great trickery from Thorman! And Thorman and Crabtree, a giant combination, have done it again. Just as they did against the French at Headingley. They have clicked at just the right moment, right underneath the posts. And Carl Harrison trying to bottle his emotions there. And Thorman and Crabtree combine.
Well, the one thing you don't want when you're defending in the middle of the field, a half-back's running at you, using a bit of footwork. That's what Chris Thorman does here. He takes on the defence. When you do that, you've always got a chance here. Here's the kick-off, the mistake from the Kiwis. Well, they've hit a bit of a bad patch. Never wanted to dig themselves out of this. But then the ball goes to Thorman, isolates the defender, steps back on the inside. Great footwork there to evade the fullback from Crabtree. Look there, targets Robbie Paul, comes inside in that inside flick. What great footwork from a 6'5" giant.
Great character from the big man, because he was picked up and unceremoniously dumped on his backside by three of the biggest Kiwis in the side, pushed him back 15 metres. It was a great play from Malcolm Alker to jump upstream from that ruck, caused the Kiwis to be all out of sorts around the ruck, and smart play from Thorman. Just stepped and went straight at him.
That is the type of player that he is. I often wonder when I see this guy play whether he knows what he's going to do next. And if he doesn't know, then how on earth can the defence know? That was pure magic, and also a wonderful step by the big fella Crabtree.
He took far more responsibility, Mike, with that play than the previous one. Great footwork, and he knew his man was on the inside.
Well, has that roused the New Zealanders? It certainly looks like it. England ahead by 22 points to 16 after a sparkling move. Now then, can England defend this? Paul Wood looks to have picked up a knock there. John Wilkin puts the shoulder in.
This is one of those examples here now where the Kiwis have decided they're going to really turn up the heat here in defence to try and trap England down in this quarter. Look there, they've contained them to what, less than a 20-metre gain in 4 tackles.
Jamie Jones-Buchanan will try and find some precious yards for this England side. They're up to their own 30-metre line. Now then, Thorman with another good kick. Deep one. And Henry Farfili reaches out for it. Wasn't deep enough, wasn't wide enough. And already they're up to their own 40-metre line, are the New Zealanders. Fatavai. 3 of them to stop him.
It's amazing in the game of rugby league how sometimes when you come out after the restart, you find yourself, you score a try in the opening minutes, and it looked for all the world as though the Kiwis were just going to run away with it. And it sometimes can be negative. Out there, maybe the men in black, they thought, oh, this is going to be easy, but it isn't. And full credit to this young England side. They have taken it to it, and they fully deserve to have the lead.
Nearly 8,000 here at the Halliwell Jones for this game. That's lovely hands from New Zealand keeping the ball alive. Webster takes the tackle, that's the 5th. They're on the England 20. Now then, Lance Ahaya will again give the ball a bit of height. This time Shontaine Happy goes up for it, and he gets it. Sykes gets it, it's gone back, and they're in the corner with Louis Anderson, but...
Who got to the ball first?
Who got first? Who made the first knock-on? Because there was a knock-on. So Jason Robinson again hands it on to video ref Steve Cross. Sykes goes up for it. Harpy is there as well.
Oh, that's pulled out by Sykes. This will stand.
Or did Sykes have it and was it pulled out by Harpy?
No, I think you'll find that Harpy finishes up with a ball, and as he's turning around, watch Sykes drag the ball away deliberately.
No, that's a knock-on. It's one-on-one. They're both going for the ball. He's pulled it forward. Can't be a try.
New Zealanders, I think, have conceded that because they're not lining up as though they feel they've scored the try.
On that second side. Now then, Harpy looks to have it. No. Harpy says he's got it. And watch. Now Sykes, to me, deliberately pulls it down. This is going to be a difficult one.
No, they both have a right to fight for the ball, and the big Kiwi has the last touch on it. That's gone forward.
Steve Cross, the video ref. This could have a crucial bearing on the outcome of this international. Has Louis Anderson got the try, or is it relief for England? It's England who get the handover. And there doesn't seem to be much disbelief in the New Zealand ranks there.
Great effort from Paul Sykes. He had the disadvantage. He stood still underneath the ball, and Shontaine Happy had a 4 or 5 yard metre, shall I say, build up. Great effort from Sykes. Got off the floor, competed, and he's come down with the spoils.
A real bit of cat and mouse going on there between Robbie Paul and Paul Sykes at the play the ball. Meanwhile, it was Sykes and Harpy who were contesting that ball, and the New Zealanders riled by that disallowed try. charge into the tackle on Crabtree and force the knock-on.
Bill, this is exactly the reason, and the benefits from this game may come in years to come. The England players out there here today now are really put under a massive test. They're in the final quarter of an intense international match against some of the best players from New Zealand here and some of the best players in the world. Can they handle the pressure of this situation?
Great platform for New Zealand. Just a little bit misjudgment there as Her Highest pass forced Paul Fatuira to adjust his step and allowed England to close in on the defence. Bronson Harrison on the 10-metre line.
Tackle 2.
2 balls on the pitch, so referee Jason Robinson just calls a pause to proceedings. Now they continue, and Puliatua is held just a couple of metres short. Robbie Paul now, he'll go himself, trying to spin through the tackles, flips the ball out. They must be in here. Puliatua out the back door. Motu Tony is wrapped up by this England defence. They chose the wrong option there. 4 tackles gone. Can England withstand this pressure? Shantaine Harpy now. Harpy. Louis Anderson across the field. 5 tackles gone. Will surely be a kick from Lance Haya. They're running it. They could be in here with Bronson Harrison. The ball out the back. They are in the corner with Henry Fa'afili. Well, they took the long way round to get there, but the pressure built, and eventually England ran out of numbers, and Henry Fa'afili on his home ground gets the try that levels, that brings New Zealand back into contention. There's the knock-on from Earl Crabtree.
Well, they might say there was some interference in that, but you can't deny New Zealand deserved this try because they had to work so hard for it. England's defensive effort here on the line was incredible. Last tackle, they ran it, eventually squeezed in the corner. Look at it. They worked so hard off the line. They tried to contain, but again, the New Zealand offload is the killing factor. Fa'afili gets the try in the corner. Pressure on this kick.
Henry Fa'afili got a hat-trick against Great Britain in 2002 for New Zealand. And that try has brought New Zealand to within 2 points of England. And Lance Haya to level the scores here. From wide out, a difficult kick, he's missed it. But just the 2 points in it now. 22-20 in England's favour.
Call at the moment, do you really go and push the game now for England, push the offloads, push those pressure passes, or do you go back, grind it out, kick in the corner, chase, and put some pressure on the energy levels of the Kiwi side?
I think I'd probably opt for the fact that the way that Thorman is kicking into the corner, especially down that short blind hand side, and maybe just try to force the error.
Well, a crucial phase of the game now for England. Can they keep their nerve?
Well, perhaps a crucial aspect now is the fact that I think they have 3 changes they can still make from substitutions. We're not sure who's fit and healthy out there to take the field, but they may need those players because the remaining 15 minutes are going to be one hell of a 15.
That was a storming run from that restart from Palliasina. There could be problems though for England. Let's go down to the sidelines, Chris.
You talk of players that are injured. Paul Wood won't take any more part in this game. He's got a serious shoulder injury, left shoulder. He's got ice on it at the moment, but he's ruled himself out. So they're down to 16 men with 13 minutes and a half on the clock.
Paul Cullen winced when that news came up that Paul Wood had picked up a shoulder injury.
Well, he's a resilient player. He's had a couple of bangs in the past. I'm sure he'll come good through it.
Can England come good in the last 15 minutes here? They're still ahead, only just, and we didn't think, there weren't many that thought they'd be in this position, but what a great performance it's been, and Hodgson does well to take that ball. Anderson all over him. He really has been a very combative figure in this game, Louis Anderson. He's in there again, certainly making his presence felt.
Well, Richie Mathers needs some helpers here. Whoever's taking this ball forward needs some players around them all.
Oh, Thorman. That went backwards. He's lost the ball, and New Zealand, I think, are in.
Well, that was poor play by England. They thought it was a knock-on, and they all stood still. You play to the whistle. He's gone upstairs to take this, but you can see there they thought, oh, well, we've knocked on.
Yes,
That'll be
Fatuira has
given.
got that ball down.
Yeah. That was not the best offload. He's gone from hero to villain, and that will be awarded as a TRY. That was certainly lost. And good work by the centre, but very shoddy indeed by Chris Thorman to offload right in front of your own sticks. You don't do that.
Steve, I think it was the pass really that was a poor one to him. The try's awarded. It was above his head by the time he managed to take it in. Do you know, it's not amazing special things that win you games of rugby league. It's simple things. Passing accuracy, good catching of the ball. England have let themselves down. The game's not over, but the tide's turned against them.
You've got to have 13 men working to one goal in any set. And we'd lost the previous one when Big Earl Crabtree knocked on at the play the ball, and the Kiwis scored on the back of it, and we were pushing that ball wide, deep in our own quarter. Why, I can't work out at this moment in time. You've got to go forward and work behind the kick, because Thorman's been good at that today.
There it was. He just had to stretch up over his head, and Lee Radford looking tired, slow to respond.
You know that the defenders are going to come at you quickly because you're near your own line. It has to be a good pass, and it wasn't.
It's a shame that they should blot their copybook like that, because it has been a really strong performance from this England. What a strong run. Palliasina, Wigan Warriors fans, look out. There's more of that to come next season.
The season ticket sales will shoot through the roof if they watch that run. God, he'll take some stopping next year in Super League.
Mind you, Paul Rahihi not involved today. He'll be running out in front of the Warrington fans next season. Look forward to that as well. Motu Tony now. Louis Anderson. Anderson back in field to Motu Tony. Mathers did well there, but paid for it. And they're in problem. They've got problems now of England. Shantaine Harpy away down that left-hand side. Sykes doing well to bring him down. Mathers is still down. Can New Zealand exploit the advantage here? Well, they come back in field and they had numbers outside. Great hands out the back, and then Calderwood is able to pick the ball up. Well, they had the opportunity there. Motu Tony brings down Mark Calderwood. That is a let-off really for England.
Well, they demonstrate some outstanding handling skills, don't they, at times? There's a kick on the back of it from Ohio. Who in the England jersey now can put his hand up and make a dent in this Kiwi defensive line? Who can get them rolling forward?
I don't think Richie Mathers is going to be able to. At least he's back on his feet, which is some progress, but he doesn't look well. Daryl Griffin. Shoulder to the wheel for the former London Bronco Academy player. And then Bronson Harrison brings him down. Ulker. Here's Stephen Wild. Wild managing to stay upright in the tackle. Offloads to Ben Westwood. Westwood brought down on the 40-metre line, but that is the fifth tackle. Needs a good kick from Thorman. Little chip over the top, looking for Luke Robinson. Robbie Paul read the situation well. He knew what was coming. Farfili now. The try scorer who's given New Zealand the lead. A lead, though, they've really had to work for here. 10 minutes to go, and that's a bit lackadaisical. Puliatua just flops onto that loose pass in the end. Jake Webster, that's good defence. Mulca, top tackler in Super League once again. Little spat off the ball. Stephen Wild and Jake Webster. Meanwhile, Shantaine Harpy takes him forward. It's been a great contest, this. Plenty of spice as well. Robbie Paul. Farfili now. Nowhere for him to go. That's the fifth tackle. Motu Tony. Lance Hahaya, crossfield kick. Well, it was meant to be crossfield. Laatiti has got that ball back. He's lost it. And the referee will bring him back for the knock-on. That's a relief for England, in fact, because Laatiti, I think...
Great catch from Laatiti.
He got up above Richie Mathers.
They've been great having the under the high kick, the Kiwis, when the ball's come down. Handling skills outstanding today.
good mark for any coach when you look at those situations. Someone's got a challenge, and the Kiwis haven't failed. Not always come up with the ball, but they've always challenged. They're always in the face, bodies in the frame.
Well, who's got the legs in this last 10 minutes here? Have England got something left in the tank?
Just look at the defensive line speed, though, from the Kiwis, Bill. Flying up in the faces of England.
And very nearly coming up with the ball. Daryl Griffin had it dislodged, but Thorman was first to react. Hodgson gets away from one. Jake Webster slams into the tackle. Here's Daryl Griffin again. Griffin takes him on and takes him on well. But they're really struggling to get out of their own half now. Thorman, Luke Robinson. Robinson, oh, that's batted down from Lance Haya.
Taking a real gamble here, England. I don't think it's the time to go wide. Stay in the middle, stay on the rough stuff. Make sure Malcolm Alker jumps out from dummy half. There's some big men in the Kiwi pack, and again, a little bit tired. If you go wide, you take chances, and we were very, very lucky to come away with that one.
Seconds, let's sort it out, Kiwis.
So England get head and feed. They might get out of their own half with this set of 6. Here's Calderwood now. Can he find a hole in this New Zealand line? They know all about him now. 2 tries here today. Lee Radford. Radford bounces off the challenge and goes looking for more. Laatiti brings him down. They're still inside their own half. So here goes Malcolm Alker. Alker pops it up for Paul Sykes. Sykes was looking on his left-hand side for some support. Just shy of that 40-metre line in the New Zealand half. Jamie Jones-Buchanan now. The Leeds Rhino gets him a few metres further forward. Alker goes on his own. Sykes once more. That's the 5th tackle. It needs to be a good kick now. Thorman is screaming for the ball. What will he come up with? A little bit of magic maybe from Thorman. A crossfield kick, reverses it. That's too strong. No problems there for New Zealand, and Carl Harrison looks philosophically there, knows that the chances are going to be few and far between in the closing minutes of this game, but it's still only 4 points in it.
Easy kick, a hard kick, reverse to the back angle without a chase, or a straightforward kick to 3 or 4 England players coming onto the ball, maybe putting some pressure on Henry Fifield.
Here goes Bronson Harrison. Another try, you feel, from New Zealand now would see off this valiant England challenge.
It's one they're working hard to get, isn't it? The power of some of the players coming on the ball. Great effort from England. They've got to hang on in here. They may get another chance yet. 6 minutes to go. Just got to do the work in defence, give themselves a chance when they get the ball.
Bronson, Robbie Paul is tackled. Lance Haya again gives that ball some air. Calderwood comes across the field for it. He's lost it behind his line. It's still behind his line, and it's picked up by David Hodgson. How on earth did they get out of that? They're going to be brought back.
Qualified as a knock on there. Well, the one aspect that New Zealand will be quite happy is the very high bombs that Lance Haya can put up. It's been a feature of the game. It was a problem for this guy a couple of years ago, Mark Calderwood. And really, that's the first one that he's put down throughout this game. He raises the arm in acknowledgement that he has come up with the error. Still plenty of time to go, though, but this has got to be a good, deep drop kick to try to force the error now from the Kiwis.
Well, 5 minutes to go. And England have really done their jerseys proud here today. Unbeaten under Carl Harrison, and they've really tried their hardest to maintain that record. But Harrison, I think, has the look of a man who knows that time is running out and maybe energy reserves are running out.
Certainly no lack of effort, has it? Great attempt here now to prevent New Zealand from scoring one more chance.
Haya loops the ball across. Oh, and Sykes almost onto it. If he could have snapped that ball up, if only.
Well, a great opportunity. That was very sloppy passing by the New Zealanders. And he just got a hand to it. There was no one at home. Farfili had pushed himself into the attacking line in the 3 quarters, and he would have raced away, surely. No one would have stopped him. That would have been a sensational victory, I'm sure.
Well, Paul Sykes knows just how close he was there to being an England hero.
But I agree with you, Phil. This has been an absolutely tremendous effort from the English players.
Here come New Zealand now, and it's the man mounting the beast, but they do well to stop him. He's really has been, oh, and then they go without it. Well, New Zealand haven't been faultless themselves, and Henry Fifili acknowledges that point.
Come on, let's look at the body language of the English players. How quickly can they get the scrum form? Are they showing themselves and their teammates that they've got the energy left for these last few minutes?
Would that be a play that you sort of deep down there? We know they've got the fastest man out there in Calderwood. Would we kick straight from the scrum base?
Graham Norton,
Stand 10.
who is in charge of this New Zealand side today, well, his side have really had to work for it.
And they'll be looking to get the quick men around the ball, not just to form the break, but to try and get some quicker play of the balls. That's where the New Zealand have dominated us, and unless we get a quick play of the ball here, England will struggle to get out of their own half. Crabtree's back on the field, maybe he's got the big play.
Alker,
Held firm.
just short of that halfway line. 4 tackles gone, though. Robinson, here is Crabtree, but they're there to meet him. They know about the threat of this big Huddersfield giant
Stand
forward.
with it.
Now, going one out against the Kiwis is an invitation. The prey is getting out from dummy half.
Robinson puts the kick in, but Henry Fifili has time there to gather the ball. It's a good chase from Sykes and from David Hodgson. But coming up to 2 minutes on the clock, New Zealand trying to just see out the closing minutes here. They've had to work so hard for this victory.
Stand up.
And if Great Britain were looking for some signs for next weekend for their crucial game against the New Zealanders at Huddersfield, then
Movement.
this England side have shown them the way. Fativai, oh, he's through there. And Mathers bravely in the way. Robbie Paul, he hasn't got the pace of old, and Hodgson makes the tackle. But New Zealand poised to put this game to bed. They've got numbers out on the left here. They keep it going quickly. Poaching back infield, over the top to Lance Hahaya, and Hahaya gets the ball down, and that is the game for New Zealand. And it was the big wingman, Manu Vatuvei, who made the vital burst.
He's Billy's the new Eric Growth. That was unstoppable. There was a steam train coming right down the middle of from Warrington Central. That was unstoppable. He knocked Stephen Wild out the way as if he didn't exist.
Oh, Wild felt that, turned away, clutching his left arm. Robbie Paul didn't have the legs, but they were there in the end.
Well, again, it's such a shame really for England here. 5th tackle try, great skill from New Zealand. They keep the ball alive. Everybody in the English shirts work so hard to deny it, but ultimately you can only hold on for so long, and it's been a magnificent effort. But you have to give some credit here, poaching the ball back over the inside to Ohio, and he deserved his try for his efforts here today.
Well, your mind glances back to last night in many ways, is that the scoreline certainly doesn't reflect the effort that the English boys have put into it.
Well, Willie Poaching has the kicking duties for New Zealand. He's kicked goals before for Western Samoa, and this will mean an awful lot to him if he gets some points on the board for New Zealand. Oh, and he hasn't. Shades of Barry McDermott, I think, and his kicking abilities. Oh dear, I'll pay for that. But New Zealand ahead by 30 points to 22 as the hooter sounds, and a harsh scoreline, but probably a fair one in the end, because New Zealand just had too much for a gallant England side, but who matched them all the way, who had the audacity to lead at times. And England have done themselves proud here. Graham Norton, in charge of this New Zealand side for the day, knows that his team have really had to work for the victory. And it's been great entertainment for a crowd of nearly 8,000 here at the Halliwell Jones. Shantaine Harpy knows just how hard this has been for the New Zealand side.